All right, what's going on, boys and girls? So, as you can tell by the title, this is kind of a passion subject for me, so I have no idea how long this is going to go, but let's get into it. So, for those that don't know, from late 2012 to about early 2016, I did a bunch of different stuff in the games media and things. I helped build relationships. I worked with PR companies. I've worked with, take your pick, I've probably done it. I've run journalist websites, and it's just, I've done and seen a lot when it came to that time in the gaming industry. And I'm gonna tell you, on the games media side of it, not a whole lot I liked, because here's the blunt reality that the games journalists, and from that'll probably be the last time you hear me say journalists, games media. What games media won't tell you is that they're really just a extension and an overglorified branch of the PR agencies. They're marketing arms of the gaming industry and the publishers and the developers. That is what they are. They're just probably too stupid to realize it, because here's what happens. You want access to a developer. Odds are they probably have some type of PR company in front of them. That PR company does gatekeeping to try to get access to these developers. You have to get past that gatekeeper in order to actually proceed to have access to the developers. And then along the way, there can potentially be NDAs, there can be restrictions, there can be question limits, there can be proofreading, there can be advance notices, etc. As far as what you can and can't do, yada, yada, yada. So there's that. In order to get through all those hurdles, you have to build a personal rapport with your PR rep, which is really fucking annoying, because then what ends up happening is you have that personal relationship, that personal rapport, and then what ends up happening is you've built a personal relationship with business. And then the problem becomes you can't delineate the two down the middle. And this has happened not just with third-party agencies, the Curses and the Strides, and those type of PR agencies. This also happens with the in-house PR marketing people. And that's a problem. The access is bought for, basically, by press. Give us press, you'll have access. You want info, we'll give you info, but we choose the info. That is how games media works. So when I say that they're an extension of the PR arm of a publisher or a third-party PR agency, it's not wrong. And the games journalists will be handed a press release, and if you go and look at press time, anytime there's a press release, it is the same regurgitated garbage across every single fucking site. All the time. Doesn't matter. So there's that realization that the industry refuses to look at. Let's talk about difference in art choices and art designs and game choices. You have people who are, I hate the term triggered, and people who are very vocal about their displeasure of certain people, drawing like big-titted anime women and skimpy outfits. Like, I don't give a shit. Might not be my flavor, but you know what? At the end of the day, let the market decide. You might not like it, critique it. It's your fucking job. You're a critic, right? Then be a critic when you fucking review it. Or if you're just looking at it and not playing the game, then shut the fuck up. Because apparently you're not in the market for it. Like, the gaming industry is so ass backwards. We want to be inclusive until we don't, because it doesn't fit our little narrative of like inclusivity. And inclusivity includes different art styles, different takes that are based in logic. You're talking being a decent human being. And I don't think a lot of these people realize that they're not decent human beings. because you step outside of their little bubble, you step outside of their thought train, you step outside of what they have for this narrow lane of view. And you are sidelined, you are blacklisted, you don't get shit. And it's really, really sad. So then you have people who have that think tank mentality. So you're living in a bubble, you're the overglorified PR people for your publishers or your insert PR agency here, and they don't even willfully ignore that. Then let's get into how you treat your audience, your readers, your viewers, your clickbaity bullshit. At the end of the day, yes, you want provocative titles so that you can drive ads and all the other yada yada bullshit. Get it, it's business. It's how you engage that audience and the perception problem you guys don't want to fix. You guys come across as douchebags. Over-opinionated people and douchebags. And I'll be the first to admit I'm an over-opinionated douchebag. So this is one douchebag telling you a bunch of the other ones over here that you're being just that. Takes one to know one. So that's laying that out on the table. Then, so engage your audience. Be willing to have a dialogue. Don't sit there like Jason Schreier, tweets a random shit about, oh, this is the worst decision Nintendo's made in a generation for how shit gets unlocked in Smash. And then one day later, after he gets mild criticism, mind you, mild, from at least me, and I'm not sour about this because I don't really give a shit. I get blocked for saying, hey, this is kind of like you criticize people for inflammatory shit, yet you're saying this is the worst decision. You're doing the same thing that you criticized about. You can give it. This is the problem with a lot in the gaming industry and the games media side. They can give the critiques and the criticisms, but they can't handle it giving it back to them. So even if it's done in a straightforward, not trying to troll you, not trying to be a jackass, just simply, hey, you're calling it like this, but you're doing it. So when they get called out on it, they fucking whine and cry about it. Like the gaming media likes to throw stones from inside their own glass house. So they're the ones breaking all the fucking windows. The gamers, not all of them, the sane ones, tend to be the ones throwing the stones back through the same fucking hole that you threw out of your glass house. And they just happen to be hitting you with a lot of truth and factualness. Kind of a novel idea. So there's that aspect of the gaming industry. Then we have some on the gamer side. The gamers, like the general audience of gamers, need to understand reviews are a subjective thing in the guise of objectivity. They're an opinion. And I'm going to say this about a lot of games journalists, games media. Opinions are like assholes. Games media people usually have 12. If they do video, they have 1, they have 2. If they do video and written, they have 12. Because normally you have the one attached to your asshole, then you have the one, if you do video and podcast type stuff, you have the one attached to your face, so you're spewing a lot of shit. And then if you write stuff, which a lot of these guys do, you have 10 more on your hands. And guess what? You're covering the screens of a lot of gamers with a lot of shit. So really, at the end of the day, the games media side of things is broken. And no one wants to admit it. No one wants to look at it. No one wants to take any critique or criticism about it. Oh, sorry. Paid reviews. This is another common gamer complaint. So the problem with the way most websites are structured, banner ads and side ads and all, full page side ad, border ads and all that shit. Those are usually done in lots. So you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes, yes, they are totally 100% coincide business relationship. Totally. Can't even deny that. Generically, though, it's just, here's a bunch of ads related to your content. It's no different than a bunch of YouTube ads, except for they're not personalized. That's kind of it. So it has the perception, and they're not wrong. Again, the games media doesn't do anything to help itself fix the perception problem. And the biggest problem I have with games journalism, I mean, this is the real problem with games journalism. All the opinion pieces, all the bullshit, all the fucking drama around a fun hobby. Now, you can call a lot of people have careers and stuff in this, but at the end of the day, the point of video games, barring all the positives it can do for hand-eye coordination, for mental acuity, take your pick. Take every positive and shove that to the side. It's about entertainment. And so many of these people don't understand that. This is like people going into the wrestling business and not understanding any wrestling. You don't even have to run a fucking wrestling company. Just understanding of like psychology and thought process and how things work, etc. That is what this reminds me of the college grad jumping into an industry that is totally its own thing. But they went to school for something that is kind of in the industry, but epically failing at understanding why that industry is what it is and what makes it tick and every avenue that is in it. Because games media, because you're not journalists, games media, you need to check your reality and fix your fucking perception. Because the real thing and the real problem is you guys just don't want to do some self-analysis. Tell that the next time PC Gamer throws a fucking party at PAX East, and you'll know exactly what I mean.